Texas Stadium is alive tonight, 50,000 plus expected. And the Washington Redskins, the hated Washington Redskins, are in town. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By the people of Holiday Inn Hotel who salute you. Here's to the winners. We're on your way. And by Nissan Cars and Trucks. Built for the most important race of all, the human race. And by Delta Airlines. We love to fly, and it shows. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Texas Stadium for this, the final replacement game of the NFL season. And tonight it's the Washington Redskins and the Dallas Cowboys. And it has been a bizarre week and a bizarre season for the NFL. The strike, of course, ended on Thursday, but so much has been left up in the air. At halftime, we'll try to update you on as many elements as we can of the strike. We are going to go to Washington and talk to our ABC legal expert. Tim O'Brien will be joining us there. The Washington Redskins have gathered in mass after their first day of practice. We'll be talking with many of the Washington Redskins players, and Everson Walls of the Dallas Cowboys will talk about his own legal action that he plans to take. And, of course, the Dallas Cowboys also resumed their work today, and we'll talk to him about that also. What will happen to the players when they return and find replacement players? So many things are going to be taking place over the next few days. Meanwhile, this is a very important game. Whoever wins tonight will take first place in the NFC Eastern Division. And, of course, the Cowboys would seemingly have the edge. Many of their players have crossed over the picket line, and Tom Landry, head coach Tom Landry, while he vacillated a little while, he decided that he finally will go with all of his veteran players, and that means Danny White will be at quarterback, Tony Dorsett will be at running back, and Mike Renfro will be at wide receiver. But where it might tell even most will be in the defensive line. Too Tall Jones will start tonight. Randy White will start. Don Smearick is also there, so it would seem they would have the edge. Al Michaels, our colleague, is not with us tonight. He's in St. Louis, where tomorrow night he'll be bringing you Game 3 of the World Series. But Dan Deerdorf is here, a native of St. Louis, I might add. And Dan, you know, the Washington Redskins players, outclassed as seemingly they are, could look at this game in many ways. I mean, they could say, wow, what am I doing up against these guys? Or they could say, well, in a week I can go home and tell them I either missed Tony Dorsett, I creamed Tony Dorsett, or Too Tall Jones ran over the top of me. They can look at it in a lot of different ways.
And I'll tell you the way that Joe Gibbs is looking at it, the Washington coach, all week long he's been telling the Dallas media, why are we even bothering to make the trip? I mean, we're outgunned, we're outmanned, we're outclassed. And the people here in Dallas, I think rightfully so, they smell a rat. Anyone who underestimates a Bobby Beathard football team, which is what this new replacement skin squad is making a serious error. Case in point, the St. Louis Cardinals, with a veteran-laden squad, went to RFK 2 weeks ago expecting to win by 2 touchdowns. They lost by a touchdown. There are some exciting young players on this Redskin team. You just don't know their names. Anthony Allen, over 250 yards receiving against the Cardinals. A talented running back named Lionel Vital. Those that think this is going to be a Dallas runaway, I think they might be mistaken.
Head coach Tom Landry in his 28th year. He started back in 1960. He vacillated around about going with all of his veteran tonights. He finally decided that he had to go with the cards, as he put it, that were dealt me. So they will open tonight. Of course, as I mentioned, both teams tied at the top of the National Football Conference's Eastern Division. And a win, particularly for the Redskins tonight, would favor them immensely. That would mean they would have at least one victory over all of their division opponents. Washington beat Philadelphia in their opener. They lost to Atlanta. Then in Game 4, they beat the Cards. And last week, they beat the Giants. And as Dan mentioned earlier, they are a very strong team, considering that the Washington Redskins were the only team that remained unified throughout the strike. There is not a regular Washington Redskin on the field tonight. Dallas Cowboys have won the toss. Obed Chukwuma Ariri will be kicking off for the Redskins.
If I were you, Frank, I'd do away with his middle name. We'll just call him Obed.
How about OA? Deep for the Dallas Cowboys are Adams, number 21, and Robert Levette. Levette, of course, one of the Cowboy veterans that came across the picket line a couple of weeks ago. Good return man, not gifted with great speed, but fine running back. A good crowd, big crowd here in Dallas, and we are underway. And Levette lets it bound into the end zone, and he better cover because that's a live ball there, and he does, right at the back of the end zone. So the Cowboys will have 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line, and Danny White will open at quarterback. Here's Danny, who played briefly last week. He came in after the first week of the strike. He was 3 for 3 against Philadelphia, led the Cowboys to a touchdown, and he was stunned because he was booed while he was performing, as these Cowboy fans booed all of their veteran players that played last week. Tony Dorsett opens at running back. He heard the boos a week ago as he scored on a 10-yard touchdown run. Very simple offense for the Dallas Cowboys. They like to do a lot of different things, though, against an inexperienced defense, reverses and things such as that. Dorsett, right side. Big opening, and Dorsett out to the 28-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 2, and let's meet the defensive unit of the Washington Redskins. And Dan has already pointed out you're not going to meet a whole lot of them that you met before. Dan Benish, you might recall, has played considerable time with Atlanta over the years. There are your linebackers. Curtis is an interesting linebacker, I might point out. Has never played any professional football, has never been in a training camp. And it's the secondary that has not been around all that much. Dorsett again gets the first down easily and spins and twists out over the 35-yard line and hit by Bobby Curtis.
Yeah, and there's a good example of Curtis and his lack of football background. That time Dorsett makes his move to the inside and Curtis bites on it. He gets to the sidelines. Yes, it's going to be a real study of contrast here this evening. You look at the silver and blue Dallas Cowboys, and you're going to recognize those names that are above the numbers. Not so with the Washington Redskins, but still, the Redskins are a much better team than they appear to be on paper. The highest scoring team in the National Football League, and a pretty good defensive team, too, for having a bunch of no-names playing.
1st and 10 inside the 37 of the Dallas Cowboys, and Danny White flips it out quickly to Gerald White, rookie from Michigan, free agent with the Cowboys earlier this year, who was cut, and White is taken there by Skip Lane after he picks up about 6 yards out close to the 44-yard line.
A good example there, Frank, of what the veteran quarterback can do. The Skins come with a blitz that time. The Cowboy offensive line not able to pick it up, and yet Danny White makes that play all on his own by flipping it over the top of the blitz to Gerald White.
Danny White looking over a 2nd down and 3. And Dorsett appears to be short of the 1st down. Eric Wilson, who will alternate at middle linebacker with David Wyndham. Wilson is 59. He'll be trading off with 58.
You know, one thing about it, keep in mind, we're going to see some action up front tonight. This game is for first place in the NFC East. 4-1 is going to be the record of the winner this evening, and if you don't think that these two clubs are ready to play tonight, we are sadly mistaken. They know it's for first place, and maybe more importantly, for the majority of players on this field, they know it's their last game in the National Football League.
3rd down 1, Dorsett. And Dorsett spins and twists and could have dropped the football in there. The Redskins are saying that they have the football. Now, Dorsett had not fumbled.
They got it
in 8 consecutive games into the night, and this time he coughs it up as he tried to spin and twist for the 1st down. And as Dan Benish, the veteran player that had put in a lot of time with the Atlanta Falcons.
This Dallas crowd just doesn't know how to react. They can't stand the thought of losing a game to the Redskins, but yet they're not enamored of all of Tony Dorsett. Alec Gibson, the linebacker, was the guy who got the hand on Dorsett. Let's take a look at it from the end zone. This crowd just doesn't know how to react. Tony Dorsett had the ball in the proper position up against his body in the midsection, and it really wasn't much of a hit that jarred it loose.
And Dan Benish made the coverage. Our replay official tonight, I believe they're looking at it, is Al Sabato. And I think it's fairly obvious that ball had come loose before Dorsett was down, and it'll be 1st down Washington, 46-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. Ed Rubert as quarterback for these Redskins, rookie from Louisville, has had a hot hand for the past couple of games. Big, 6'5", 225-pounder. Hands off to Vitale, who in a couple of games has already rolled for 210 yards. And let's meet the rest of the offensive unit as Vitale picks up 6 yards. It'll be 2nd and 4, and there they are. Anthony Allen, you remember that name from the first replacement game. Set a Washington Redskin record with 7 receptions for 255 yards. One of the many Redskins that have an opportunity to stick around. We'll talk about that a little later on, but there's several of them. Second down and 4. Rupert is the quarterback. Vitale again, right side, and Vitale this time barely inside the 35-yard line, where he picks up a Redskin first down.
One of the things the Washington Redskins are doing tonight, an unusual lead blocker. This is their tight end, Joe Carabella. Watch him make the lead block at the point of attack. Vitale will make the move to the inside, but talk about putting some beef at the point of attack, moving a tight end into the backfield.
And until 2 weeks ago, Dan, he was a nose tackle and defensive end, and they just moved him when they began rebuilding their placement team to an H-back on first down. Rupert, this is Vitale. And Vitale dropped there by Tommy Haynes, first-year man out of USC, whose experience was with the USFL. And let's take a look at this Cowboy defense. The edge has to come up front with this group right here. Randy White, Don Schmierk, and Ed Jones.
All veterans in the middle, and they are strong.
And another veteran out on the right side, a one-year veteran, Chris Dulabun.
He was their leading tackler of a week ago.
Had one change in that secondary. Jimmy Armstrong is not active tonight, a left cornerback, but Billy Hill, number 31, is. Billy Hill tried the Cleveland Browns in '83 and '84, and was with the New Jersey Generals in the USFL. Second down now, and a long 6. Rupert rolls out and dumps it off to Carvello. The former nose tackle and defensive lineman who was turned into an H-back, and now we're seeing him as a lead blocker. And now we see him as a receiver, and he gets inside the 10-yard line, down close to the 8-yard line. They'll mark it inside the 9.
Here's Carabella, lines up right on the wing back. He's going to come in, make some contact, and then just drift out. And on the move, Rupert, as he rolls out, the play-action fake. Look how it freezes everyone in the middle for Dallas. He wanted to go deep, but what the heck, you can't pass up someone that open. And Carabella gets the Redskins deep in Dallas territory inside the 10.
First down, goal to go. That's Ted Wilson, number 80, on the move. Vitale, big opening, and he spins down to the 3-yard line. And again, that offensive line just blowing the Dallas Cowboys out of there. And this is a strong veteran defensive line.
What did I talk about right before we got underway? This is a team game, and the Washington Redskins understand that as well, if not better than most teams in this league. And I think we're seeing a good example of it right now. Tough to spot a familiar name or face in a red jersey here, and yet they're stuffing the ball right down the field on a veteran Cowboy defense.
Second down, goal to go. Wilson, and Wilson close to the goal line. Wilson, a longtime veteran. Started at Houston in '79, then went on to New Orleans and was their leading rusher back in '83. And here comes Wilson, gets good blocking once again.
You see some Dallas penetration, but the majority of the surge inside is moving backwards. And Wilson comes off the pile, a good spot by the officials. He wasn't in, he landed a foot short, and that's exactly where they have the football. But critical play for Dallas. This is exactly the way Washington wants to start this game.
Third down, goal to go. The ball near the goal line. This time, the Dallas Cowboys come off the line. Dale Jones, the linebacker, was there first. And it'll be decision time now for Joe Gibbs. A loss on the play of about a yard. And it'll be fourth down.
Well, we're getting a pull from the inside. The lead blocking looks good, but then Wilson decides to cut it back to the middle. That might have been an ill-advised cut. He moves back to the inside where the offside Cowboy defense was filling. Give credit to Dallas. When they had to make the big play, they did. Tommy Haynes was right there, and whistles everywhere.
As Obed Ariri hits it through the uprights, the whistles had already blown.
Timeout, Dallas, for the snap. Number 1.
Timeout had been called before the snap by the Dallas Cowboys. Our referee tonight is Pat Haggerty. There's Joe Gibbs on the sidelines. Good teaching coach, now in his 7th year. Done a superb job, the winningest percentage of all active coaches around. No matter what the coaches you talk to, Dan, during these replacement games, they all seem to say one thing. It's been a challenge. They all seem to have enjoyed it.
It has been a challenge in the sense that, keep in mind, that coaches are really teachers. It starts in high school. They don't teach biology. They don't teach mathematics. They teach football. And it really is what a good coach is. He's a good teacher. So an opportunity to work with some eager, young, receptive talent, yeah, it's been fascinating to these guys. But I think the strain of putting together 2 game plans every week, the extra 5 or 6 hours a day they're having to spend in the office, the coaches I've talked to in the last couple of weeks, Frank, I can see it on their face. It's taken a toll.
How about the Washington Redskins? Dan Henning and Emmett Thomas, assistant coaches, were in Washington today, working with the Redskins in their first regular drill. Cowboys had a drill here 1 o'clock this afternoon. They're already looking ahead. The Cowboys, of course, looking ahead to Philadelphia, the team they defeated here a week ago. And Buddy Ryan left a little upset over that one. They'll be going into a hornet's nest there.
The Dallas Cowboys, who took a timeout right there, I had to take a guess. I'm going to say they only had 10 men on the field. There was some confusion, and they went ahead and took a timeout, which, questionable decision. It's not the end of the world to only have 10 men on the field when you're rushing a field goal.
19-yard attempt for O'Reilly. And the Redskins take a Tony Dorsett fumble. In for 6. They have the extra point, or rather the field goal, and they now lead 3-0. Back at Texas Stadium, the Redskins hanging up a 19-yard field goal following a Tony Dorsett fumble, and they have a 3-0 lead. A good drive, Dan.
Well, it certainly was, and of course Dorsett sets it up, but still, if you had to assess the plays that were run up front, the Washington Redskins controlled the line of scrimmage.
Obed Ariri to kick off, and here is Tony Dorsett, who was really stunned last week when he came in, performed well, had a 10-yard touchdown, and was thoroughly booed for his efforts. Levette and Adams are deep for Dallas. This is David Adams. Adams out over the 20-yard line, close to the 22-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Dallas Cowboys.
Let's see if we can explain the confusion by the Cowboys when they took a timeout before the field goal. Let's count them. There's 5 guys. Look at that miss. 5 guys up front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But watch the one guy, that's 11, but one guy heads for the sidelines. There he goes. He's the 11th guy. They think they got 12 guys out there. They were right to begin with. They didn't need to take that timeout. We'll see if that hurts them, Frank.
1st and 10 Dallas. Danny White, the quarterback, and the snap that Danny White was not anticipating, and Danny White is collected back at about the 15-yard line. Mix up between White and the center, Mike Zindig.
Well, there's 11 men in the huddle. If 10 men hear one thing and one guy hears another, it's a little more painful when the one guy who hears something different is the center. That's the case there, as they're confused on their snap counts.
Tom Landry calling upstairs, probably to offensive coordinator Paul Hackett, and wondering what's happening. Meanwhile, it'll be 2nd down and 13. George Lilja, number 64, is the Cowboy center. Got a change there as Tony Dorsett struggles and does not get back to the line of scrimmage, and he hears the boos once again.
Well, Tony Dorsett, unfortunately, has been making some of his best efforts in the newspapers here in Dallas. Tony has changed directions more in the newspapers in the last 3 or 4 weeks than he ever has running the football. Tony made some very derogatory statements about some of his teammates that crossed the picket line and went in. Then he crossed the picket line and went in. And then he really said, I'd get down on the 50-yard line, and begged Tom Landry not to play me in these games. He did not enamor himself to the fans at all.
Public relations nightmare. 3rd down, 14. Danny White. Downfield finds the open man. It was Burbage, or Mike Renfro, rather, and the man on the coverage was Michael Mitchell, who was right there. Good coverage.
Well, you can't fault Danny White. He puts it right on the numbers of Mike Renfro. And keep in mind, this is a 10-year veteran. It's a very simple hook pattern. Mike drives his man, is just going to sit down, but watch where the ball is. You can't fault that at all. Now, was there contact before the football got there? I don't think so. I think
he just made a fine play.
I think you give Mitchell credit for making the hit and timing it perfectly.
Buzz Sawyer, not a punt on 4th down for Dallas. Derek Shepard is deep for Washington and off the side of his foot. And then it takes a Washington bounce back. It'll be inside the 45-yard line near the 43-yard line. 24-yard punt by Buzz Sawyer, and the Washington Redskins, already leading by 3, have excellent field position. 7:19 remaining in the first quarter. Nothing hurts like walking off the field if you're a punter and you just had one come off the side of your foot for 24 yards in your own territory. Washington 1st down and 10 at the Cowboys 43-yard line. So far, this Cowboy crowd has had little to cheer about. Rubert with good protection. Hangs one up, and he's looking for Anthony Allen off his fingertips. Robert Williams back there defensively as Ed Jones pressuring Rubert.
Up front, the experience belongs to the Cowboys. Let's see, Randy White 9 times in the Pro Bowl. And Derek Brills, the left guard of the Washington Redskins, buries him. Now that's what's called taking your man, getting under his pads, and making the first thing that hits the ground his shoulder blades. And no sacks in the last 2 games by the Washington Redskins.
That is remarkable. That time you saw good coverage also by Robert Williams on Anthony Allen. He ran stride for stride. It's 2nd down and 10. The motion man is Ted Wilson. Rupert hands off to Vitale, and Vitale looks for an opening inside. Gets only a yard, maybe a yard and a half, as he is hit by Russ Swan.
Lionel Vitale has some sort of background as he comes out of the ball game. He started off with the Redskins back in 1985 and then decided he wanted to play a little baseball. He was in the White Sox organization on the AA level. Cut by the Skins in '86, by the Giants. He's been around.
Loved it last week. He had 128 yards against the Giants.
He got around last week.
3rd down and 8. Wilson again in motion. Rubert is back. And Rubert will go down. Tommy Haynes, a strong safety on the blitz, collects Rubert at the 50-yard line. A loss of about 7. Not the first thing the partisan crowd has had a chance to get excited about tonight.
Tommy Haynes is sneaking up. He's hiding right here on the line of scrimmage. He'll let it develop, then he'll come around the corner. Watch him make the play, but when your strong safety hides right in there and then sneaks around to the outside, he saw the...
Here's Cornell Burbage. And Burbage goes down at the 21-yard line. Flag is also down. Burbage, one of the finds for these Dallas Cowboys. An excellent wide receiver. As a matter of fact, they found a couple of them. On the other side is Kelvin Edwards. They have been providing big plays. And it'll be marked off against Dallas. Again, our referee tonight, Pat Haggerty. Redskins 3-1, the Cowboys 3-1.
Dylan Houston hands by the receiving team on the return. 1st down.
We're talking about the Dallas Cowboys and how poor they're playing. Hey, Washington has started twice. The 46, the 43. They only have 3 points to show for it.
A look at former Pittsburgh Steelers star Ernie Stoutner, the defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys, has been here in Dallas since 1966. And meanwhile, the Dallas Cowboys will have a 1st and 10 at their own 10-yard line. Danny Dorsett, and good running by Dorsett out to the 20-yard line. Should be close to a 1st down hit there by Steve Gage, one of the Redskins who might have an opportunity to stay with this football team. As a quarterback at Tulsa was Gage, and has turned into a fine defensive back and play a lot of positions.
One of the things about Tony Dorsett, Frank, that I've always admired is his ability to run between the tackles. I think some people have a conception of Tony Dorsett as just being nothing more than a scat back. He really prefers to run between the tackles, get the tough yardage in the middle.
And durability now in his 11th year. He gets the 1st down on 1st and 10. White is back once again. Gets the time. Has to check off a deep receiver to Tony Dorsett. He's well covered by Carlton Rose. And The crowd is getting on the Cowboys a little bit, but in the last 2 replacement games, they seem to score in bunches. They were very hot for a matter of just a few minutes against the Jets when they were down 3-0. They ran off 24 unanswered points and all of a sudden had a 24-3 lead 2 weeks ago. And then last week, they ran off a 21-0 lead before Philadelphia hardly knew they were on the field. So they can score big. They have a lot of big plays, more than any other replacement team from 20 yards out. So they can score quickly with those wide receivers, Edwards and Burbidge. This is Dorsett. And Dorsett over the 25 to the 27. He'll get 7. It'll be 2nd down and 3. Got a good lead block by Gerald White, the rookie from Michigan. And we have a Redskin very slow getting up. That's Dan Benish, the veteran right tackle, a veteran of several years with the Atlanta Falcons.
And they certainly can't afford to lose Dan Benish because he's the only experience on the starting front 4 of the Washington Redskins. Dan played the majority of his career in Atlanta. Was cut this year by Tampa Bay during their training camp, and the only other veteran that we have here with the Redskins is a defensive lineman pickup, Henry Waxter, this week. Let's take a look at it. Dan's number 95 coming in. He's going to put the hit. He misses, and this must happen when he hits the ground because he makes no contact with Tony Dorsett whatsoever. You certainly can't see anything from that angle.
And they continue to look at Dan Benish. Again, he had good position. Tony Dorsett just making the cutback. They bring in Henry Waxer. You might remember that name. Backup defensive lineman for a couple of years with the Chicago Bears. He just arrived a couple of days ago, and they did not even have a number for him up until this morning. There's Henry Waxter.
Don't think we're crazy in the way we pronounce it. That's the way he wants us to say it. Waxter. It's like it was W-A-X-T-E-R. How's that for trying to get us off the hook?
Well, when you're 6'5" and 275, you can go around and tell people to pronounce your name any way you want. And, of course, we're talking about Jessica McClure, who really, the entire world was riveted on this young lady. And particularly here in Texas, they're so proud, and we're also proud of her. What an ordeal she went through. And now it does appear as if Dan Benish is all right, and we should see him once again. Redskins defense held the Giants last week to 47 yards rushing. Not that the Giants are one of your top flight replacement teams, but they did hold them to 47 yards rushing. As I wonder how many sleepless nights Bill Parcells is going to have. Defending Super Bowl champions, the only winless team remaining in the NFL. From the shotgun, Danny White on 3rd down and 3. And wide open is Renfro. Renfro working against the zone, found the opening. Danny White, good protection, fired it in and gets the 1st down. Out over the 35-yard line.
That time Renfro lines up to the wide side, is going to come underneath, but let's look at the Redskin blitz up the middle. Steve Martin, boy, does he put a shot on Danny White, forces him to throw it maybe a half-second early, but luckily Renfro had made his break in time to allow Danny to see him and get the ball there. Danny White has looked extremely sharp at quarterback here in the early going.
1st down and 10. The Cowboys at their own 36-yard line. They're down by 3. 4:06 remaining in the 1st quarter. The ball is loose again. Covered by Bobby Curtis. Alec Gibson hit Tony Dorsett. The ball came loose in the 2nd fumble for Tony Dorsett. And we had mentioned earlier that Tony Dorsett had not fumbled in 8 consecutive regular season games. And then now he's popped it up twice.
How many times you see Dallas run this play just out of the eye? Look at the huge hole in the middle. But that's a picture tackle. Alec Gibson puts his shoulder on the ball. Tony had to protect it, but twice so far now he's dropped it. Bobby Curtis falls on the Christmas present lying on the ground, and not what Tony imagined when he got up this morning.
Top field position once again for the Washington Redskins. Near the 41-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. Vitale, right side, big opening, and Vitale Gets down to the 37-yard line. Gain of 5, hit by Tommy Haynes coming up from strong safety, and Ed Jones dropping back from defensive end.
Well, this game is being played on the Dallas end of the field. Whether it be fumbles, whether it be poor punts, it's all been at this end. Ed Too Tall Jones being blocked by William Sissom, the right tackle. Ed falls back in, makes the play, but a good 4-yard pickup on first down by Vitale.
Marking at the 37, second down and 6, and pressure on Rupert, and down goes Rupert. Dale Jones was in there defensively.
The ruling is if you are getting rid of the football to avoid a sack. Rupert is hurt. Rupert appears to be shaken up. He was slow to get up, and it's a play action, and he's going to roll right into Dale Jones, who came on the blitz. I really think that's in the grasp.
Well, he had what appeared to be a receiver that was uncovering, but it was very close, and Rupert now is going to have to go to the sidelines. The Redskins calling timeout.
The ruling is that if you're getting rid of the football to avoid being sacked, it really doesn't matter whether or not there's a man nearby or not. They can call it intentional grounding. That time they chose not to.
And Rupert is on the sidelines, and it will appear that we'll have a new quarterback, Tony Robinson of Tennessee. Ed Rupert, who went down in the arms of Dale Jones on a play that could have been called illegally grounding the ball, is now being looked at on the sidelines. Meanwhile, he has been replaced by Tony Robinson, a rookie out of Tennessee. Robinson, who led Tennessee in 1985 with a 9-1-2 record to the Sugar Bowl, is a quarterback, very agile, a very fine athlete. And he looks over 3rd down and 6. Gets away from Ed Jones. And fires upfield and gets it complete to the tight end, Craig McEwen. Does appear to be short of the first down. And Robinson immediately gets introduced to Ed Too Tall Jones.
Well, Tony Robinson at 6'3", 200 is a good athlete, and Ed Jones establishes that he has the outside, and Robinson elects to go that way after he sees Ed up in the air. And a lot of quarterbacks have tried that and not escaped that long arm of the law, but Tony gets to the outside and then has the presence of mind to spot a receiver, pull up, and deliver the football. And that was his first play in the National Football League, and look at that. It's a Redskin first down.
Craig McEwen, the H-back, gets the first down.
It says, next time, sucker.
They mark it inside the 32-yard line. 2:40, and the clock is moving here in the first quarter. Redskins with great field position all night long, but they've only been able to manage one 19-yard field goal. Robinson. This is Wayne Wilson, and Wayne Wilson is swarmed under. There'll be a loss of about a yard. Russ Swan was there first, and then it was Chris Dulabon.
How many times have you seen it where one team gets all the field position in the first quarter and doesn't capitalize? And the Washington Redskins have to be aware of the fact that they've spent the entire first quarter as they've got a player down. Wayne Wilson.
Wayne Wilson, one of the few veterans on the field tonight, had a couple of real fine years with New Orleans. In '83 was their rushing leader with over 700 yards, and they're looking at his knee. Swarmed all over Wayne Wilson. Let's look at it again. Leading the parade of Dallas Cowboys, number 57 is Russ Swan. Then there comes Randy White, number 54, and then is Kevin Brooks, and that is a lot of weight.
And you can see the one leg pinned underneath.
So often it gets trapped on this artificial surface.
Well, I don't know.
Stomach, just don't look at it anymore.
I don't know if regular grass would have saved that, but there's an awful lot of weight. Looked like Wayne was able to get out from under it a little bit, but nobody's that strong. As they look at the left knee. And Ed Rupert is leaving the game. Rupert is on his way into the locker room, presumably to either be examined by a physician or some x-rays.
Remarkable couple of games Red Rupert ended tonight. He was a second leading quarterback in terms of rating of the replacement teams. And the first one was Kevin Sweeney of the Dallas Cowboys. And now off comes Wayne Wilson.
And the key here is that he's putting weight on his foot. If you've ever had a serious knee injury, you do not put that foot on the ground. That baby dangles in the air when you go off the field. A good sign for Wayne Wilson that he's not afraid to put some weight on that left leg.
Nor would they allow him to put the weight on it.
Well, nobody has to tell you.
2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. It is second down and just about 12 yards. The ball inside the 33-yard line for the Redskins. And Lionel Vitale is back into the lineup, number 20. Here comes a full blitz against Robinson. And Robinson reads it well, gets it quickly to Anthony Allen. And a very cool move by Tony Robinson. As you might expect, a new quarterback in the lineup. You turn everyone loose. You try to get into his face, try to shake him up. And the Cowboys did exactly that. Ernie Stotner sending his troops from all over the field.
This is the Cowboy 4-0. Two Cowboys right here. Alex Green is going to come into the middle. Watch Robinson set here and deliver the football. You've got to read the blitz. Your receiver makes the break. You get rid of it and take a hit. Teamwork.
And you know you're going to have the one-on-one, and that's exactly what happened. Allen was one-on-one with Robert Williams, and Robinson laid it up there in perfect shape because there was good coverage. A 25-yard pickup. First down, goal to go. Inside the 10 once again of the Redskins. Vitale slithers inside the 5.
Tom Landry has to be thinking to himself, well, I challenged the kid. I challenged Robinson. Two blitzers right in his face, untouched, and he burned me.
Here's Allen a moment ago. He was individual coverage against Robert Williams. The blitz now is right in Robinson's face. He lays it on the outside, doesn't put it inside, where he would not have had a chance to get the completion because Allen would have had to run back through Williams.
And chances are that wasn't Allen's primary route. He ran the fly when he read the blitz going up the middle.
Good discipline and reflective of good coaching. The ball is loose, and the Cowboys are saying that they have it now.
They do.
Kevin Brooks comes up with the football for the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys have turned it over twice themselves, and now Vitale turns it over inside the 5-yard line. Here it is again.
Well, it's the Cowboys' turn to get a break. Vitale, look at the size of that hole, but he never had the football. That's a touchdown if he's able to control the handoff from Robinson. You could see where if he would just make a little break to the left, go inside of Randy White, he's in the end zone, and it's a 10-0 ball game. Not so. Fumbled exchange between Robinson and Vitale.
There's the first-round draft pick out of Michigan in 1985 that came up with the football. Kevin Brooks. Look at it again. You're so right, Dan. All he had to do is control the ball. He might have got just a little bit fired up there. The handoff looked good. Just lost the ball, thinking perhaps he was going to break it back to the inside to the daylight that would have taken him to the end zone. Dallas gets another break. Ernie Stotner, once again, the defensive coordinator, talking with a lot of young troops over in the sidelines. And as we talked about earlier, so much coaching and teaching has gone into these replacement teams.
We have word
paid off.
We have word, Frank, that they're x-raying Ed Rupert's right shoulder. That's what made contact with the turf when he went down under Dale Jones.
Danny White. Michael Mitchell up there to pick up Danny White. There's mix-up in the backfield. Take a look at it once again.
Well, this is the snap from center. Danny has it in his hands.
Got a lucky bounce.
He did get a lucky bounce. It came right back to him.
Mike Zintik is the center. He was in the Cowboys camp early on this past summer, and they didn't even give him a playbook. They wanted him around to give their other centers a little rest. They wanted him to do the snapping, do a little scrimmaging, and now he is out there as the center. Second down and 11. And from the end zone, Danny White wants to go big. Hangs it up to the outside. Well, Cornell Burbage had taken it inside, but he had drawn double coverage. Danny had no way he was going to complete that, and Danny White draws the booze once again.
Well, that's not Danny White's fault, because Burbage should have seen that the free safety, Frank, is coming over from the middle of the field. He's got to make his adjustment more towards the sideline instead of get away from that coverage, and that's where Danny threw the football.
A lot of these Cowboy fans, too, are thinking about Kevin Sweeney, who was the top-rated quarterback in the NFL over the past couple of weeks. A rookie from Fresno State who was replaced tonight by Danny White. So let's face it, this is the Cowboys quarterback, at least for now, and for the rest of the season. White again from the end zone. Gerald White. And White with first down yardage out over the 15. Skip Lane there defensively for these Redskins. Well, the Cowboys pick up the first down as the quarter ends. Redskins over the Cowboys 3-0. We'll be returning to Texas Stadium after this message and then a word from our local station. The Redskins over the Cowboys at the end of the first quarter, 3-0. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by the investment firm of Smith Barney. They make money the old-fashioned way. They earn it. Cowboys first down and 10. Ball at their own 16-yard line. We begin the second quarter. Danny White remains the quarterback. And down goes Danny White. Steve Martin from over on the right side. No one picked up Danny White. Steve Martin rained all over him back at the 9-yard line.
I guess he did. It's easy to look good when no one blocks you, and Steve Martin that time had a free sail, and that's what I said about the ball being played in the Cowboy end of the field. The 46-yard line is as far as they've gotten, their own 46.
And that was where Tony Dorsett made his first fumble. Cowboys yet to come up with the big plays that have characterized their first two games of replacement football. The bomb to Burbage and Edwards, the wide receivers. There is the attempt to get it to Burbage. And Michael Mitchell was there with the coverage on Cornell Burbage, the rookie from Kentucky. Washington, time of possession, but it was where they had the possession that was so meaningful, and the Cowboys were able to get out of it, only giving up 3 points.
Well, we look at this graphic after every quarter in every football game ever played, but it always boils down to the turnovers. The one Washington turnover cost them some points because that probably would have been a touchdown run, and the two Dorsett fumbles. Keep in mind, that's hurting Washington. They're only able to convert that into 3 points.
From the shotgun, third down and 17. Danny White from inside his 5-yard line. Man wide open, and it's Renfro, and Renfro comes down with the football and gets away from one tackler at the 34 and gets out to the 37-yard line. Skip Lane finally there to make the stop against Mike Renfro, one of the veterans playing tonight. Renfro finding that zone once again. A very simple zone. He pulls in, and Danny White from the shotgun is able to get it right to him. Pulls him behind the receiver and sets up, and then it's just good football running.
Well, that's the timing part. You saw him break in behind one of his own receivers, breaks a couple tackles, and for the first time tonight, I think we've heard the Dallas crowd get a little excited about what's happening on the field.
29-yard pickup. Renfro in motion. Dorsett. Looks, pecks along the line of scrimmage and gets a couple of yards out to the 40-yard line.
It's been a while since I've seen Tony run with both hands on the football like an Ohio State fullback, but that's what we saw in that play. No way is he going to put it down on the ground.
Oh, and do you start thinking about it, too. After you cough one up, then you cough two up, and that's all you're thinking about. And Tony Dorsett is such a natural runner. He really is such a fluid, graceful runner. He cannot be thinking about fumbling the football. He is covering it with both hands after having coughed it up twice. Second down and 8, and Danny White appears to be checking it off. White read the blitz, checked it off. Carlton Rose, however, buries White back at the 30-yard line.
And unfortunately for Dallas, he buried him because he ran right over the top of Tony Dorsett. Let's take a look at it. Here's Carlton Rose right here on the line of scrimmage. Watch his upfield rush right at Danny White. Tony tries to go to the inside, reacts back to the outside too late, and he's not in position to get a hit on Carlton Rose. That time, Washington simply came with more people than Dallas could block.
Fourth sack of the night. Danny White had read it perfectly, tried to get the ball to one of his outside men who were single covered. And this time he calls something out to Mike Renfro in the left flat. Trying to get the screen off. Dorsett goes down. Good defensive play against Tony Dorsett.
Steve Gage, a brilliant play. I mean, totally brilliant.
He is the youngster that was a quarterback at Tulsa. He went to the Senior Bowl last year and was the MVP. And he is one of the Redskins who might be sticking around. Buzz Sawyer back to punt for Dallas. Derek Shepard, another Redskin that might be around. Fine return man, wide receiver out of Oklahoma. Back after having missed last week with a sore shoulder. This time it's low and off the foot of Buzz Sawyer once again. And Shepard is upended at the 36-yard line. Hustling down there, Bruce Livingston, who blocked a punt against Philadelphia a week ago, and he nailed Shepard at the 36-yard line, where the Redskins will have 1st and 10. Memories, I guess. Number 44, Big John Riggins. Frank Gifford along with Dan Deerdorf. Al Michaels in St. Louis. We'll be hearing from him with a report on game number 3 coming up tomorrow night. And Dan, what has happened?
I'll be there right behind home plate. Tudor, Straker tomorrow night. Cardinals will win that ball game. Watch.
And we'll be there with our ABC cameras. And you heard it here first. First down and 10, the Redskins with the 3-0 lead of the Dallas Cowboys. 11:25 remaining in the first half. Robinson goes down at the 31-yard line. That Too Tall Jones was in there first, and then it was Kevin Brooks to make sure.
Well, that sack goes down in Kevin Brooks' chart as being his, but actually it's Too Tall Jones all the way. Working against Sism, watch him force Robinson up, forces him to duck, and then Brooks, who's actually on his way down, gets the sack, but that belongs to number 72, Ed Jones, all the way.
Second down, 15. Almost has it picked off. In and out of the hands of Doulabin and taken by Anthony Allen. And Anthony Allen gets back to the original line of scrimmage, and they'll mark it to the 37. It'll be 2nd down and 9, but very alert on the part of Anthony Allen.
I think Robinson read the blitz all the way, Frank. Watch the short drop. He stops. Unfortunately, there's no blitz. He reads blitz. He breaks off accordingly, and Dallas is dropping back into coverage. And Doulabin had that ball right in his hands and would have just strolled into the end zone.
Understandable. Robinson seeing his first action tonight. Had not played in the previous 2 games. Rupert having gone all the way. It's 3rd down and 9. Robinson buried as he unloads and almost picked off. Robert Williams stepping in front of the intended receiver, Anthony Allen. Tommy Haynes was pressuring Tony Robinson.
By looking at the reaction of the Cowboy backs, look at the way that Robinson looks at his receiver all the way. Tommy Haynes makes the play. Robert Williams is there with the ball in his fingers and just plain drops it.
Jack Wheel punting and driving Burbage all the way back to the 11-yard line, where he is pounded out at the 13-yard line. So Dallas will start deep in their own territory once again. Hustling down there, Burmeister, Danny Burmeister, to put the hit on Cornell Burbage. 9:49 remaining here in the first half. I guess Danny White could say, I guess no respect. While we were away, the crowd started chanting, "We want Sweeney." They meant Kevin Sweeney, who has started the last 2 replacement games, has played well. He had that great career out of Fresno State, setting a lot of NCAA records, passing for over 10,600 yards, but he has been replaced tonight by Danny White. Kevin Sweeney is on the bench. On first down and 10. Tony Dorsett out close to the 20-yard line. Still has that acceleration even now in his 11th year.
You may not know these guys' names, Frank, but they know what to do with a helmet and a pair of shoulder pads. Did you hear the pop when Dorsett took the ball that time and took it upfield? I am extremely impressed with the Redskins and their defensive unit. I don't want to keep harping on the same point, but there aren't any Randy Whites and Too Tall Jones in that front four, and yet they're playing like it.
Dorsett picked up 6. It'll be second down and 4, and White is back looking once again. In and out of the hands of Tony Dorsett, and he'll hear the boos once again. Tony Dorsett, who really never quite got things figured out about this strike, as we mentioned earlier. One day he was saying one thing, and the next day he was saying something else, and got himself in a whole lot of trouble down here. And Central Division are 3-2, and they're tied with Houston and Pittsburgh. On third down and 4, and that will bring up fourth down.
Henry Waxter got up and got a hand on the football, and Danny White just really doesn't have a chance. I know the crowd's all over Danny, but this guy's had a couple of passes batted away. He's been sacked 4 times. He's had receivers go the wrong direction, and the crowd's chanting, "We want Sweeney."
Sweeney says, "We don't want this." Sawyer to punt once again. Again off the side of his foot as he was rushed, and again it takes a definite Washington bounce.
I'm trying to figure out how that wasn't blocked. Derek Bunch came through, almost got a hand on the football. He may have even touched it. Look at it close, and no roughing the kicker. Good play
and good field position, Washington. 8:52 remaining in the first half here at Texas Stadium in Dallas. The Washington Redskins, the Dallas Cowboys. The Redskins leading the Cowboys 3-0. 19-yard field goal. They've had multiple opportunities, and they have another one. They have a 1st and 10 at the Dallas Cowboys 48-yard line. Vitale. And Vitale down the sidelines. Found an opening over the left side and sprints down the sidelines inside the 25-yard line. They marked it at the 26.
Where is the Dallas contained? Dallas that time getting caught way too far to the inside. It's the Dallas counterplay, and in a very unusual move, Vitale takes it all the way back around left end. Gets a downfield block. Williams can't make the play, and Lionel Vitale over 200 yards on the season, adding to it and looking good.
And 128 a week ago against the Giants. 5'9", 195-pounder. Lionel Vitale. They work him again. And he goes down in the arms of Kevin Brooks after a gain of a couple to bring up second down and 8.
The Washington Redskins have to be concerned about the field position they've been enjoying here in the first half and their lack of ability to have it reflected on the scoreboard. They've started 4 drives inside Dallas territory, this being the 4th, and only have those 3 points. And Tom Landry is smart enough to know that he's been dodging a bullet here so far. Can his defense stiffen again?
Second down and 8. Redskins at the Cowboys 24-yard line. Cowboys come with the blitz. The flag is down as Vitale is taken out of bounds near the line of scrimmage, or rather Ted Wilson, the wide receiver, but a flag is down. Pat Haggerty indicates the illegal motion to work against the Redskins. At stake tonight, the lead in the NFC Eastern Division. Both the Cowboys and the Redskins 3-1. Their replacement teams have both won their last 2 games.
Illegal motion. Number 80. Offense. Still second down.
And it was the receiver, Ted Wilson, who was illegally in motion, and they walk it off back to the 29-yard line.
What he did is he started towards the line of scrimmage before the snap of the football. Have to be moving parallel to the line of scrimmage or away from it. That time Ted Wilson was moving forward at the snap of the ball.
Caravella, the H-back, lines up in front of Vital. And this is Vital behind a Caravella block. And Vital gets back close to the 25-yard line. That was last week as the Redskins rolled against the Giants. This is tonight.
A couple of big runs will pad that average. That's what Lionel has had tonight, but that time he challenged the corner to get around. You have to hope that someone on the Cowboys defensive team makes a mistake. That time Chris Doulevon honored his contain and was there to make the play.
58 yards for Vital thus far tonight. Third down, close to 10. Robinson looking deep into the end zone, trying to get the ball to Ted Wilson, incomplete. And we'll see the field goal unit coming on. Obed Ariri comes out.
This is about the time of the game where the defensive team on their way off the field is going to pass the offense and say, hey guys, we're doing our job. It's about time you get it going.
And go out there and hold them or something. 44-yard attempt. And no good.
Hits the upright.
Ariri hitting the uprights. And the Redskins still lead 3-0. Here it is again.
All the body English in the world, can't move the football.
Didn't get the hook he ordinarily would get as a sidewinder. And Dallas, who has not gone beyond their own 46-yard line, takes over 1st and 10 to the 25-yard line. Here is the reaction of Ariri. How could it happen?
In Texas Stadium, it's easy.
On first down, Danny White. Calvin Edwards. And Edwards, who has been spectacular in the past 2 games, will get a first down, and he'll get out over the 40-yard line. The blitz was on. Carlton rose in the face of Danny White, but he was able to get the ball to Edwards.
Too late. Too late, Mom.
The cry that's being heard around the world tonight.
Maybe that's why the crowd here is so quiet.
Cowboys at their 43-yard line. Danny White looking deep. And Renfro, the intended receiver, Michael Mitchell, was there defensively. It looked very close to interference, but Renfro does not complain and no flags fly.
I think Mitchell makes a good play. Now he's on Renfro, but I think it's after the ball gets there. Let's take a look at it. Mike just making a break to the sideline, but let's watch Mitchell. And when does he make contact? Both of them playing the football.
Look at Mitchell come back.
There's no
with that
contact
speed.
yet. Oh, that's well played. That is beautifully played by Michael Mitchell. The Dallas crowd that time dead wrong.
2nd down and 10. Blitz again, and they're all over Danny White. He tries to just dump it off. David Wyndham, nobody picked him up. And he was in the face of Danny White before he could even pull away from the center.
David Wyndham times the snap. Watch the movement of the football. Wyndham is already moving right between center and right guard, right between both of the backs. And Danny White has had literally tonight no chance to deliver the football on at least 7 or 8 occasions.
That was ruled an incomplete pass. And it did appear as if he was throwing it away.
I guess it's turnabout is fair play. One questionable call involving the Redskins quarterback tonight as well.
3rd down and 10. Now this time Danny White will come from the shotgun. Blitz again. And down goes Danny White. This time he did not have an opportunity to get rid of it as Joe Cofer came from the strong safety position and nails Danny White all the way back to the 31-yard line. And this defensive unit of the Redskins has come alive.
But let me show you why this works. This guy's going to blitz. This guy's going to blitz. These two backs are going to pick him up. But here comes Cofer from the outside. It's simple. Washington is blitzing more guys that can be picked up. Cofer that time is free all the way in there, and Danny White has really no choice but to take the hit.
Well, Dallas will be punting once again. Buzz Sawyer, who is having a rough night, is on to punt. Yard line. Shepard out to the 36-yard line, where it'll be 1st down and 10. The Redskins. Reminder, Saturday coming up, now you're going to see a key Big Ten matchup, followed by Game 6 of the World Series. That, of course, if it's necessary, Dan. And on the West Coast, it'll be Game 6 of the World Series, if necessary, followed by California at UCLA. College football coming your way, and of course the World Series, if it does continue. Redskins 1st and 10, their own 36-yard line. Vitale, big opening again, and nifty running by Vitale. Derek Brills again with a key block that springs Vitale, but just excellent running on the part of this youngster from Nicholls State.
It's the blocking of his center and his left guard. Look at the double team on Randy White. They take him out of the play, come off, and pick up Russ Swan. That's all a running back asks for. Vitale takes it at the line of scrimmage and says, I'll take it from here, fellas. Good open field running, and finally Robert Williams has to come up, make the play, or Lionel is gone.
29-yard pickup by Vitale. Jesse comes into the backfield now for the Redskins. Vitale gets a breather. And Jesse tries the middle and gets another big opening. Caravello coming back as the H-back with a key block. Tommy Haynes and Alex Green made the stop. Jesse, who had been in camp with the Chicago Bears earlier as 11th round draft pick, gets a 9-yard pickup out of it.
They're just going right at the heart of the Cowboy defense. Look at the blocking. From inside, McEwen, the H-back in motion, takes Kevin Brooks clear out of the play.
Vitale once again. He'll have the 1st down inside the 25-yard line of the Cowboys.
This offensive line of the Washington Redskins is really impressing me tonight. Carlson and Brills and Coyle, Petty, Sism, these guys have not allowed a sack in the 2 games coming into tonight. Now, their quarterback has been pressured this evening, but that's an indication of the way they're able to play. And look at the way they're controlling the line of scrimmage, running the football. And this is, again, I remind you, against a very veteran defensive line.
In the last 2 games, this offensive unit has averaged 414 yards. That's the best in the NFL for the past 2 games. This time, Vitale is tripped up, and he'll lose a yard back to the 25-yard line. Dale Jones and Kevin Brooks defensively there for Dallas.
To add a little to the point I'm making as we look at Lionel's numbers, coming into tonight's ball game, Dallas was the 2nd-ranked rushing defensive team in the league, allowing only 80 yards a ball game. Lionel Vitale is already past that at 90 yards.
2nd down and 11. Tony Robinson looks it over at quarterback. Hands off to Jesse, the rookie from Auburn. He's hit at the line of scrimmage. He might have got a yard out of it. Don Smirrick is there first for Dallas. That'll bring up a 3rd down and 10. Time remaining here in the first half, and the Redskins remain on top 3-0.
A good indication of the stamina of a football team is often reflected by the stance that some of the guys take in the huddle. That time the Cowboys had about 4 guys with their hands on their knees searching for a little extra oxygen.
Robinson back. Just does get it away. Gets it upfield into the hands of Ted Wilson. And he was battling for the football with Billy Hill. And Tommy Haynes and Randy White were really pressuring quarterback Tony Robinson.
And Hill makes a mistake that, oh, it has to be tempting for a defensive back. Watch him play the ball instead of the man. He tries for interception, moving in front, and yet just doesn't get there. Comes up a half a step short, and that allows the reception to be made.
And on 4th down, here once again, Obed Aruri. 33-yard attempt. Long snap.
They're going to wait for the 2-minute warning. That's a good move by Washington.
Looking for an opportunity to draw Dallas off, and they take it down now to the 2-minute warning. Of course, and that will bring about the automatic timeout. And Obed Aruri will have time to think it over. We'll be back at Texas Stadium in a moment. Back at Texas Stadium, the Washington Redskins over the Dallas Cowboys 3-0. And with 4th down and 2, Tony Robinson has come back onto the field. The field goal unit has gone off. Obed Aruri had been on the field before with the field goal unit when we went to the 2-minute warning. But now Robinson is back out there. Tim Jesse is the tailback. McEwen is the H-back. And they may have gotten what they wanted. Randy White appeared to have made contact. If that is indeed the offside, if he wasn't drawn off, that will be 1st down yardage for Washington. The 2 flags now are down.
What a mistake this could be if it goes against Dallas. I mean, this is a major gaffe. There's no question that the Dallas defensive line moves once, then twice.
Encroachment, defense.
And apparently Randy White, and he is the veteran out there, the 13-year veteran. Let's watch him. 54 right of your screen. He makes the contact. He's the one you would least expect to be involved. Don Schmierich was there also. Both of them moving. Both of them veterans. Washington gets a 1st down at the 11-yard line.
And then a key move. The Washington center prematurely snapped the football while Randy White was across the line of scrimmage. Don't give him a chance to get back. Looked like contact might have been made, but still a good heads-up play.
1st down, Washington, 11-yard line of Dallas. That's Wilson in motion. And Robinson rolls out. Looks for Wilson and finds Wilson inside the 10. Down close to the 8-yard line. Robert Williams takes him out of bounds there. Tony Robinson replaced Ed Rubert, who went in for x-rays of his shoulder. Robinson, you might recall, former Tennessee player who had to meet with Commissioner Pete Rozelle prior to reporting to the Redskins regarding drug-related convictions. Before he could report to the Redskins, he had been playing in minor league football with the Richmond Ravens. We're watching him now lead the Redskins. 2nd down and 7. Robinson flicks it and into the arms of Wilson, but a flag is down.
And I think this is going to be a holding call. I think Too Tall drew a hold.
And the Redskins will be backed up.
I think this will go against Willard Sissom, the right tackle, who was blocking Too Tall. And again, Washington is making it tough on themselves.
Holding, number 56, offense.
Well, I'm wrong. That's Eric Coyle, the center.
Well, Sissom should have held. He's got a lot of man over there in front of him.
Sissom was acting like it was, I got to give this guy a hint. You don't ever act like it's your fault if it's not. In the center of the screen, Eric Coyle, the center.
It's not holding. That's a pure takedown.
That's a takedown all the way.
2nd down, long yardage now for the Redskins. At the Dallas Cowboys 18-yard line, 1:51 remaining in the 1st half. Robinson, and he does not have a chance to get it off as Randy White buries Robinson back near the 25-yard line. Randy White still thinking perhaps about that 4th down and short yardage when he gave up the 1st down on the offsides.
Here's Randy in his stance, but watch this. He's going to loop to the outside. He's not even going to be blocked. Washington is really going to get a quarterback hurt when you don't even make an attempt to block a 9-time Pro Bowler.
That was Brills right over Randy White, who just totally ignored him.
You don't have to ask him to dance twice.
Randy White, one of 2 Cowboys that never went out on strike, the other one being Don Smerrick. We told you earlier that the Redskins regulars worked out today. They are watching from the Scoreboard restaurant in Fairfax, Virginia. All of them, I understand, have gathered there, really in a salute to Neil Okowitz. Joe Jacoby will ask his question straight out. You have to be watching this game with mixed emotions. A win by the replacement players tonight, and you will go one up the Washington Redskins in the NFC Eastern Division. How do you feel about watching it? That must be how they feel about watching it.
I don't think Joe could hear us because of the background noise of his teammates.
Yeah.
A little bit of celebrating going on.
There's some celebrating. I think we're just celebrating that, we're back together as a team, and we're here celebrating what Neil did for the team, keeping us together, and we're kind of watching this game on mixed emotions right now.
That was a question, Joe. I mean, you will go one game up in the NFC East if you can win tonight, and it must be tough to watch it, however.
Yeah, it is very tough. I mean, we feel like those, the guys that invested in the stock market today, that went down 500 points. We're sitting home in Washington, and everybody's down there playing in Dallas right now.
We're going to leave you for a moment, Joe. 3rd down, long yardage for the Redskins inside the 25-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. Robinson under pressure again, hit by Randy White again, and it's picked off. Tommy Haynes. Haynes makes it back to the 22-yard line, and it was Randy White who hit Tony Robinson.
Well, if you ever saw a guy trying to say I'm sorry, letting his actions speak, take a look at Randy White. He's going to loop to the outside. Watts comes underneath, and Randy White just too much. He makes the hit on Robinson, and that interception is credited to Randy White all the way. I love that. I love to see a guy put his team in a jam and almost single-handedly get him out of it.
9 times this man has been to a Pro Bowl. He did it 8 consecutive years. Never went out on strike. His contract, an annuity that would have been dramatically affected by it. Stated his case at the very beginning, said nothing after that. Dorsett over the left side and out to the 24-yard line. Gain of a yard, perhaps 2 yards, as he is hit by Steve Gage, the rookie safety man from Tulsa, and Carlton Rose. Hurry up offense now for the Dallas Cowboys. 2nd down and 8.
Tommy Haynes celebrating a bit.
Randy White fires incomplete to Gerald White. I'll remind you at halftime we are going to be talking to Everson Walls. We're going to take a look at the legal issues of the strike, and Al Michaels in St. Louis will have a World Series report. The Cards down 2-0.
I know.
And of course makes his home in St. Louis, and they've been down before. They had to win 2 to get there.
You're exactly right. 2 shutouts.
But the Twins, are they hot?
No white ceilings in St. Louis either.
There's 4th innings though. 3rd down and 8. Kelvin Edwards.
You set me up, Ray.
You walked in. Edwards has a Cowboy 1st down and stops the clock as he gets out to the 36-yard line. 38 seconds remaining here in the first half. It's been a pretty thing to watch, but there is a tremendous amount on the line for both these teams. Again, Washington, they're playing totally without any regular players. The Redskins remaining unified throughout the strike. If they would have a win tonight over everyone in their division, if they can beat the Dallas Cowboys.
He's celebrating the possibility of Dallas making it to the 50-yard line,
which they have not done here in the first half. White again on 1st and 10. And in trouble. and holds it to the last moment and then releases it to Mike Renfro, and he doesn't control the ball. Bobby Curtis was pressuring Danny White.
You've heard it so many times before that sometimes it's just not fair, the statistics that end up going on a quarterback's record. I am very hard-pressed to find fault with Danny White and the way he's playing tonight for Dallas. Look at him have to get out of the pocket. He's going to take a hit just as he releases it from Gibson, and you just can't deliver the ball any better, and a 10-year veteran drops it. Mike Renfro can't handle it.
Cowboys 2 timeouts. 2nd down and 10. The ball near their 37-yard line. That's the time remaining here in the first half. Right back once again. Again, he's pressured. It's the ball to Adams. And Adams, the rookie from Arizona, works it out to the 45-yard line. And Danny White will use one of the 2 remaining timeouts. He'll go over to the sidelines. And again, the Dallas Cowboys have been unable to move beyond their own 46-yard line tonight. And much of that credit going to a very stout Washington defense.
We can't emphasize enough what this game means in the stretch drive of November and December when you're looking at your team, and your team happens to be either the Redskins or the Cowboys, and you look at their records, and maybe at that point in time they might be 8-4 or something like that. You're not really going to remember who was playing in this game tonight. Somebody's going to be 4-1 this evening. Someone's going to be 3-2. And when you look at the Giants down there on the bottom on 0-5, it's nice to know if you're Dallas or Washington after tonight, you're going to be 4 games ahead of the defending Super Bowl champions.
That, of course, reflective of the Giants' reluctant way they went about. George Young, general manager, has taken all the blame on that. He said he did not want to offend the Super Bowl champion players by going out and hiring players to replace them. They got a late start, and consequently they have a weaker team. 2nd down. And Danny White will get the first down. And finally, the Dallas Cowboys are into Washington territory near the 47-yard line. The deepest penetration of the game thus far, and 12 seconds now remaining on the clock. Danny White, who is trying to come back from a year ago when he had the Cowboys at 6-2 in the first half of the season. And on November the 2nd, he was hit by Carl Banks and fractured his wrist, out the remainder of the season. And from that point on, the Cowboys went into a spiral, and they never recovered. They lost 7 of their last 8 football games. And they finished 7-9 on the year. Cowboys' last Super Bowl appearance back in 1978, as we look at Tom Landry, who led them from their very creation back in 1960. Still very actively involved and still very active. Calling more plays now than he has in the previous games. Paul Hackett, the offensive coordinator, is upstairs. I talked to Sal before the game, and he says that Tom is calling most of the plays himself from the sideline.
Frank, something to watch for here. Joe Caravella is now playing nose tackle. Remember, we saw him playing fullback. He's a tight end, and a couple good lead blocks to start off the ball game. Dan Benish went down, and now Caravella, who's played some defensive line before, is playing nose tackle.
Prevent defense is all over the lot for the Washington Redskins. And Danny White does not have enough people. I think that was his problem. He was motioning to the sidelines to send somebody in.
Well, you're supposed to count them in the huddle before you go to the line of scrimmage.
That was the Cowboys' first time in Washington territory. They're back in their own now.
And I don't know if you noticed, but Kevin Sweeney doesn't have that warm-up on anymore. He's got a helmet on and chin straps button.
These are things you don't practice that much when you don't have time to get an offense ready, and that is the hurry-up offense against the prevent defense. It'll probably be something just looking for the defensive foul. A deep pass if Danny can get it off, and he will not, as he is buried back at the 38-yard line. It was Waxter once again, who really just arrived here with Washington. Did not have a number early this morning.
Clock's running, Henry.
They'll never get the playoff. Well, they do get one more playoff.
This is a live play.
The gun did not snap until the ball was snapped. But they say the time has run out here in the first half.
Oh, there's some organized confusion.
It's not pretty, but it's very important. The Redskins over the Cowboys 3-0 at halftime, and we'll return to Texas Stadium after this message from the NFL and then a word from your local station. Stay with us. Back at Texas Stadium, set to go here in the second half. The Dallas Cowboys will kick off to the Washington Redskins. That means Kerry Brady, who was just activated today. Lewiston Dejas has a very sore foot, and Brady was brought in to kick it deep, and he kicks it short. Tim Jesse takes it at the 14-yard line. And Jesse finds an opening. A flag goes down, and Jesse is out over the 35-yard line. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Nissan Cars and Trucks, built for the most important race of all, the human race, by Michelob Light. When the sun goes down, light up the night with Michelob Light. And by All Brand, the natural high-fiber cereal from Kellogg's. And a fine return by Jesse will be negated, and the ball brought back to the 20-yard line.
91 on the return, first down.
The Skins have lost a couple of their offensive players. Ed Rubert has a bruised right shoulder, and he won't be back in the game, and Wayne Wilson has strained his knee, and he won't play anymore this evening either. So Washington, who hasn't shown the ability to move much offensively, is handicapped even further by the loss of those two.
And they continue with quarterback Tony Robinson, the rookie from Tennessee. He was 5 of 8 for 48 yards and an interception in the first half. This time he fires it over the middle to McEwen, and the big tight end takes it deep into Dallas territory inside the 40-yard line near the 39. 42-yard pickup. Not a bad way to start the second half.
He just starts from the wing position. Tony Robinson, look at the protection. Boy, you can't fault that at all. A perfect alley downfield, and as McEwen breaks to the middle of the field, then plays scat back a little bit.
Good protection for Robinson by an offensive line that over the past 2 games coming into tonight had not allowed a sack. Vitale, another opening, and Vitale close to first down yardage inside the 30-yard line. And again, halftime numbers very close. The turnovers again are equal. Dallas's deepest penetration in the first half was to the Washington 47-yard line. They did not even get an offensive playoff at that point. They had a penalty that took them back into their own territory. They've struggled on offense. Vitale once again, he'll get perhaps 3 out of that before he's hit by Don Smerick. Vitale now 16 carries for 104 yards. He was over 100 yards last week against the Giants with 128. So he has back-to-back 100-yard performances.
And you can imagine that it was a not very happy Joe Gibbs that told his football team, when we get into Dallas territory, deep in their territory where we are now, we've got to get some points on the scoreboard.
Vitale again. Breaks it to the outside, caught a little daylight to the inside, and he'll get a couple more. Nifty little runner, 5'9", 195-pounder. We talked about him in the first half. Out of Nichols State. Was cut in 1986 by the Redskins. Giants picked him up briefly at the end of training camp. They let him go. He went up to Canada, worked up there for a little while. And then, as we mentioned, went into baseball with the White Sox organization. That's where the Redskins collected him and brought him in when they needed football players. 3rd down and 5. The ball at the 21-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. And they were down to 5 seconds on the 30-second clock. And Tony Robinson, with a little confusion in the huddle, uses a timeout. And he'll move over to confer with head coach Joe Gibbs. Joe Gibbs back in the teaching business. Next week, he'll be back in the coaching business.
I think Randy White is back in this ball game. Watch him fight off the block of Craig McEwen, who's going to come from his left. He comes in, they're going to trap him. Boom, there is McEwen, who just gets dispatched with the left hand. It's a little more impressive when you remember that McEwen weighs 220 pounds, and it took a left forearm to send him flying backward.
And he had a 5 yards head start on Randy White. 3rd down and 5. Redskins near the 21-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. Robinson back, gets the blitz, gets rid of the football, and fires it out to McEwen once again. And Robinson, very cool under tremendous pressure, had a Cowboy right in his face on the safety blitz.
Got a fight down at the 5-yard line.
And a little wrestling breaks out down near the 5-yard line, but McEwen gets first down yardage, and the flag, I think, is dropped after the play.
Yeah, the flag involves the fight.
Here comes the blitz. Tommy Haynes. Right
All
in
the way.
Robinson's face. Good handle by McEwen. Knew where he had to be to get the first down. And here's referee Pat Haggerty.
It's a foul. Number 99, defense.
Kevin Brooks.
And that was well after the play and well away from the play. Kevin Brooks, who is walking on some very thin ice here in Dallas, labeled pretty much of an underachiever by the Cowboy coaching staff. They're concerned that every time he gets an opportunity to play, he seems to come up with an injury. And Kevin Brooks is quite a competitor. At least he was at the University of Michigan, and the Dallas folks are down on him.
Redskins have first down, goal to go once again against the Cowboys, and Vitale takes it inside the 2-yard line. Big opening. Just tripped up, or perhaps he could have taken it in. Seems like the Redskins have been down here all evening. Another flag is down, and this one appears to be against the Redskins.
Holding, number 75, offense.
Derek Brills on the left side, and that hurts. It would have been second down, goal to go from the 2, and now the Cowboys will be in much better shape as the Redskins backed up to the Cowboys 17, make it the 16-yard line.
Their last drive of the half was thwarted because of a holding call, that time on Eric Coyle, the center, right before the half, and this time it's Derek Brills who gets flagged for the hold, and Washington is just acting like they don't want to get in the end zone.
And they had a fumble inside the 5-yard line earlier. They played almost the entire game in Dallas territory, but they still only lead 3-0 with 11:48 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. First down, goal to go. The ball at the 16-yard line of the Cowboys. Vitale once again. No, a bootleg. And a handoff to Wilson. Cowboys went with Vitale. I went with Vitale. And Wilson brings it around, takes it in. 16-yard touchdown. And it's such an effective play. Any kind of change of direction play against the inexperience of these defensive teams. Cowboys scored in the very first offensive play last week with a reverse. Reverse that went to Kelvin Edwards, who went 62 yards. Now the Redskins have scored from 16 yards out, and Obed Ariri puts it through. Let's take a look at it once again.
Vitale takes the fake, then it's Robinson who just drops it backwards to Wilson, and Dallas caught completely by surprise, and Washington finally gets to the promised land.
Whom I'm quite sure did not expect to play, had to replace Ed Rubert in the 2nd quarter, injured his shoulder, has just displayed some very nifty ball handling. A reverse off a bootleg to Ted Wilson, who took it in from 16 yards out. Ariri kicks off for Washington. This is Robert Levette. Levette goes down to the 20-yard line.
Frank alluded to the fact that Robinson didn't expect to play tonight. That's why the ball handling that he showed on that touchdown is exceptional. Look at the fake to Vitale. Then he hides the ball. No one on the Cowboy defense saw it, and then handed it off to Ted Wilson. Now, that's complicated ball handling for a veteran quarterback, much less someone who's only been in camp for a couple of weeks and didn't expect to play. And Ted Wilson, after the nifty work by Robinson, did the rest himself.
Cowboys need something on the scoreboard to get back in it. They have a 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Danny White. Calvin Edwards. And Edwards gets out to the 26-yard line, and a little shoving and pushing breaks out between Sosowski and Bobby Curtis, the defensive linebacker for the Redskins.
Well, if I'm Bobby Curtis, I'm not real thrilled about that. Sosowski comes in about 3 seconds after the play was over. Could have easily picked up a late hit call, and Bobby Curtis, who saw the play was over, was just standing flat-footed and got put flat instead.
2nd down and 4. Dorsett. Not close to first down yardage. He should have it. He's over the 30-yard line.
This Bobby Curtis is a great story, Frank. This fellow never has been to an NFL training camp. And according to the Washington Redskins, he just might make it when everybody gets back together. Now, in today's age of super scouting and 100-plus rosters being invited to training camps and teams with 20 and 30 free agents apiece, that someone of this talent and this caliber never even went to an NFL camp, it's really hard to believe. Now, going to Savannah State didn't help him a great deal, but still, good player to not go to an NFL training camp.
You get the feeling that Bobby Beathard, who runs the personnel department of the Redskins, knows every football player in the country, as Gerald White for the Cowboys out over the 35-yard line. Takes the pass from Danny White. A gain of 6 yards. It'll bring up 2nd down and 4. But Bobby Beathard, who came to the Redskins in 1978, at times has put together major miracles. They did not have, I don't think, a top draft pick in the first 5 picks when he arrived there in 78. Gradually put together a ball club, and they have been in the playoffs 4 of the last 5 years, and the NFC Championship 3 of the last 5 years. Dorsett over the left side, and Dorsett will get first down yardage out over the 45-yard line. That, of course, left out 2 Super Bowl appearances that Bobby Beathard put together the personnel for.
The crowd coming to life a little bit when Tony Dorsett picks up the Cowboy first down. I think that they're starting to let bygones be bygones, and I think it's finally dawning on them that those are the hated Washington Redskins down on the field, and first place in the NFC East is at stake here tonight. And I think maybe they're figuring it's better to cheer Tony and get a win than boo him and lose.
First down, Dallas. They're at their own 45-yard line. White complete to Edwards, and Edwards inside the 45-yard line, and the crowd now really coming to life. Edwards, the big play man of a week ago. He went 62 yards on a reverse, and the Cowboys have been a streaky scoring team in these 2 replacement games. They put together a lot of points very quickly with big plays. They have more plays over 20 yards than any other replacement team, and this man has been principally responsible. The New Orleans 4th-round draft pick a year ago. They cut him this year. The Cowboys may keep him this year. Dorsett looking to get outside, and there was a lot of opening to the outside, and he just didn't get there as he's upended by Steve Gage, who is all over this field. I mentioned that they might keep Edwards, the Cowboys. Well, it could be the Redskins might keep Steve Gage.
You know, I'm looking at Tony Dorsett running that football last time, Frank, and that's a play that I think that he makes if he's not so conscious of protecting the football. He makes that break to the outside, and a lot of times you'll see him one-hand that football. Well, you know, sometimes you have to do it. And listen, he's getting a hand as he comes out of the ball game.
11-year veteran, and he had to feel good about that. He's heard everything. 2nd down and 5. Danny White looking for the end zone. Edwards is there. They scored big with this man. Edwards behind Michael Mitchell. And the Cowboys come firing right back after the Redskins hung up their touchdown. 38-yard touchdown. Danny White to Calvin Edwards.
And if I'm Calvin Edwards, the guy I run to is Danny White. Now you're going to get a good look at Edwards here. Push off. Watch him use his left arm. He's running stride for stride with Mitchell. Right here. Watch him push off and separate himself from Mitchell. He didn't get caught doing it. That's a good veteran play, and Danny White perfect on the pass.
Gary Brady puts the conversion through. Luis Indejas not able to kick because of that sprained ankle. But the Cowboys come roaring right back. They trail the Redskins by 3 here in the third quarter. He was cut by New Orleans this year. A fourth-round draft pick a year ago by New Orleans. He has scored 4 touchdowns now in 2 games, 3 receiving and 1 on that reverse I mentioned a moment ago from 62 yards out, the opening play last week against Philadelphia. Danny White, by the way, helped him catch that. He had it right in his hands. Brady puts it in play and puts it deep into the end zone, and Tim Jesse will bring it out. And now the crowd is really into this game as Jesse takes it out to the 20-yard line.
Something the Cowboys haven't been doing very well is protecting their quarterback. But on this play, Danny White gets the protection in the pocket, and just a perfectly lofted football that Kelvin Edwards is in the end zone, doesn't have to do a thing after he breaks free of Mitchell, and it drops right in his arms. And the Cowboys desperately needing a wide receiver after the loss of Mike Gerard early in training camp have found a big play guy in Kelvin Edwards.
And they have one on the other side, too. Not a big man in Cornell Burbridge, but he also potentially could stay with the Cowboys as a wide receiver. Vitale. Over 100 yards once again tonight for the Redskins. Gets perhaps 3, maybe 4, up to the 24-yard line. Lionel Vitale, 5'9", 195-pounder. And all the Redskins looking on. They have gathered together tonight. The only team that remained unified throughout the entire strike. They have gathered together in honor really of their player representative Neil Okowitz. Looking on with mixed emotions tonight as Lionel Vitale has a right side hit at the line of scrimmage by Kevin Brooks. Maybe gets a yard out of it.
And we are hearing some noise from the Cowboy fans.
50,000 plus, the largest crowd of the NFL weekend. There's Brooks. We talked about his problems. #1 draft pick in '85, always seemingly unable to go because of some kind of an injury. Hurt his knee in the second game against the Giants, the upset win of the Cowboys over the Giants. When the regulars were playing, missed last week, but he is playing a lot tonight. 3rd and 5, and listen to the crowd. Back. Complete over the middle to McEwen. And McEwen into Dallas territory inside the 45-yard line. And McEwen has been a big play receiver tonight. The H-back who is lined up at the wing position. We've seen him on the move. And he comes up with another big play as once again Robinson is right on target.
And look at the way McEwen can run after he catches the ball. That's what's impressing me. He wasn't supposed to be a guy that had great speed, but he takes a 10-yard pass across the middle and turns it into a whole lot more by showing a lot of upfield speed.
McEwen, a rookie from Utah, was in the camp of the Redskins this season. He was cut. He has 4 receptions tonight for 84 yards. Play action by Robinson. Robinson trying to get it deep. And Billy Hill takes it out of the arms of Ted Wilson. Just does deflect it. Had that ball been thrown just a little deeper, it could have been 6.
There was nobody on the Cowboy team that had any idea who had the football. That is a touchdown all the way if Robinson doesn't underthrow the ball. Ted Wilson is 3 yards behind the pair of Cowboys that were back there. They just didn't have a shot. Green and Hill were just late reacting, and the ball 3 yards underthrown, or it's a Washington touchdown.
2nd down and 10. Billy Hill filling in tonight for an injured Jimmy Armstrong for these Cowboys. Robinson, Vitale. And Vitale gets away from Dale Jones and gets it inside the Cowboys' 40-yard line before he is tackled by Billy Hill. Gain of almost 7 yards for Vitale, who is rolling up the numbers tonight.
That time Jones came on a blitz, and Lionel Vitale had no lead blocker, had to do it on his own, and he did.
Here's Billy Hill, number 31. He'll fight off the block of McEwen. Get back to make the stop. Third down and about 3. The Redskins trying to keep it alive. The reverse to Ted Wilson. He has the first down and more to the 25. The Redskins coming right back.
Not afraid to try the big play. Wilson going to the right, and he gets around Kevin Brooks, who's really upfield in a position to make the play. Let's see if we can see number 99, but he's too far to the inside. He didn't see it coming, and there's McEwen downfield getting the block on Bruce Livingston, and Washington putting together a good drive of their own.
Inside the 26-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. Tim Jesse in there momentarily, at least for Vitale. And Jesse is pounded.
Flag is down. I think we've got some movement in the interior of the line. Somebody got a head start.
False start. Offense, left guard.
Eric Grills over on the left side.
False start. Offense, still first down.
This offensive line, Dan, they're working against Ed Jones. They're working against Randy White, Don Smerrick, and Mike Dwyer, the other man in that defensive front four. He might even make this ball club. And they performed well.
I was talking to Joe Bugle before the ball game, the Skins offensive line coach, and he said, hey, I found some players, and that's obvious.
First and 15. Following the penalty. Robinson back, good protection. Fires short over the middle, but McEwen takes it off the carpet and gets it to the 21-yard line. Tom Landry in his 28th year. .325, the clock is moving here in the third quarter. First place at stake in the NFC Eastern Division. Both teams are 3-1. Both have won their last 2 replacement games. Jesse and the blocks of Carlson and Brills. It's to the 17-yard line. Third down and about 3.
One thing we'll have to watch as this game wears on is how does the Cowboys and their defensive unit hold up. This defensive team has been on the field for a long, long time. It's been a lot of grinded out football that they've seen from Washington, and that may take a toll in the fourth quarter.
Jesse, big opening over the left side, and Jesse inside the 10-yard line, hit by Billy Hill, and the save by Billy Hill.
And a big hit by Billy Hill. Tim Jesse had a huge opening on the left side. And boy, did he get crunched. Look at this hole. This is the one-back formation, and that's what a running back loves to see, but look at this hit. Jesse was already going down, and Billy Hill helped accelerate the process.
Hill in there tonight because of an injury to Jimmy Armstrong. Has made key plays all evening. Jesse again. First down. Goal to go. Gets near the 7-yard line.
A supposedly outmanned Washington Redskins football team still holding on to a 3-point lead and looking to add to it right here. And you really have to admire the coaching job done by that guy, Joe Gibbs.
Talking to coaches upstairs, Jerry Rome, the quarterback coach, Dan Henning, who was with the Redskins before he went to Atlanta. He was fired there last year, and he's back with the Redskins now. They are both upstairs talking to Joe Gibbs. Second down, goal to go. Jesse, another big opening behind Brills and Carlson. This time Jesse close to the 2-yard line. It'll be third down, goal to go. Good block by the center, Eric Cole.
I think we've got a flag down.
Flag is down in the backfield. And it'll be marked off against the Redskins.
21, offense.
Twice now the Redskins have picked up the penalty. The last time they were down inside the Cowboys' 10-yard line, they picked up a holding penalty.
Remember, they did the same thing on their last drive before the end of the first half. So Washington is one step forward, one step back.
Robinson under a lot of pressure. Tommy Haynes picks it off for Dallas, and Washington once again gives up a golden opportunity as Dale Jones was right in the face of Tony Robinson, a linebacker on the left side for the Cowboys, a rookie from Tennessee, a teammate of Robinson's, is right in his face.
And I'll tell you what Jones did that was so smart. He waited for McEwen, the motion man, to move past him and then came in underneath. But you'll see he is on Robinson's arm as the ball is aired out. Haynes slides in and makes the interception, keeps the ball off the ground. Dallas dodges it again.
Haynes, who came up with the interception a moment ago, a diving catch of a pass attempt by Tony Robinson. Haynes should give credit to Dale Jones, who was right in Robinson's face. Dallas first down and 10. They're at their own 5-yard line. Inside 1 minute remaining here in the third quarter. Tony Dorsett covering up that football with both hands. Out over the 10-yard line.
Let's look at Tommy Haynes' interception. I'm going to tell you, this is a big-time play. Watch him keep the ball off the turf. Watch him slide his hands underneath the football. Look at that. Pull it up to his chest. There's hands between that ball and the field. Major league play by Tommy Haynes on that interception.
First-year man out of USC, who earlier this year was in the Rams training camp. Second down and 4. That's the time remaining here in the third quarter. Dorsett once again. Hit first by Bobby Curtis. He'll be short of the first down out of the 12-yard line. That's the end of the third quarter, and we'll return to Texas Stadium after this word about an upcoming show on ABC, and then a word from your local station. Frank Gifford along with Dan Deerdorf. Our colleague Al Michaels is in St. Louis, where he will bring you Game 3 of the World Series tomorrow night, along with Jim Palmer, Tim McCarver, and our group of talented technicians, providing you splendiferous coverage. Meanwhile, the Dallas Cowboys, as we begin the fourth quarter, with third down and 3, and Danny White is back. Wide open is Renfro, who has the first down out over the 20-yard line to the 21-yard line. Redskins looking on in Washington. Earlier we talked to Joe Jacoby. We tried to talk to Joe Jacoby. Mark May, another offensive lineman, is with us now, we understand, at the moment. And we'll ask Mark May, who resumed to practice with his fellow regulars today in Washington. How do you think you guys are going to receive these players when they come back? Can you hear us, Mark?
Yes, I can hear you.
How do you feel that you regulars will receive these replacement players when you all get together?
I think the first day or so may be difficult for all parties concerned, but you have to look at it realistically. These guys have come in and done a great job for the Washington Redskins. There are some great athletes out there, phenomenal athletes. We're going to have to accept them because if the rosters increase to 55 or 49, some of these guys may be on our final roster.
Mark, it sounds to me that this is somewhat of a shift of your attitude, that it's really not these guys' fault that crossed the line, that maybe the fault lies elsewhere.
Well, you have to understand that the guys that crossed the line that really hurt the veterans were the veteran players. The rookies that crossed the line were just going for an opportunity. I really don't appreciate the guys running across the line at all, no matter who it is, because it's cost me a phenomenal amount of money that I don't want to go into. And that's the way every veteran feels, but these guys had to do what they had to do.
It'll be nice, though, to mark, should the Redskins stay on top here, to be 4-1, having defeated everyone in your division. That wouldn't be bad at all, would it?
Wouldn't be bad at all. I said before that I probably wouldn't accept these guys because what they've done to us. If they end up beating the Cowboys at Dallas tonight, I may give them all a pat on the back and accept it.
Thank you, Mark. Mark May, the Washington Redskins. And, Mark, we'll see you November the 23rd against the Rams.
All right, you guys got it. Thanks a lot, Frank and Dan.
All right, and that may be the most intelligent thing I've heard said in the last 3 weeks. Mark May, that's August 31st. Yeah, nice job.
Meanwhile, the Cowboys have a third down, a long one. The ball inside their own 30-yard line near the 29-yard line. Play action on third and short. Danny White trying to get it all. And that could draw a flag. No, they were running stride for stride. It was Michael Mitchell covering Kelvin Edwards. And it did appear as if Mitchell just ran up the leg of Edwards. He was looking for a flag.
Remember the last time we saw Mitchell, and that same pattern was involved in a very close play. And I think we're going to see that he doesn't make contact again this time either. Let's see what happens. That's Kelvin Edwards just striding down the field.
Oh, he has size and speed.
Michael Mitchell now turns to the ball. Now there's a little contact with the right arm, but that's incidental. No, Kelvin Edwards leaves his feet trying to catch the football. I think that's a good non-flag.
It brings up fourth down, and Buzz Sawyer comes on, who's had a tough night punting for Dallas. Again, does not carry deep. Takes a bit of a Cowboy bounce, but is picked up by Derek Shepard, who battles his way back out over the 45-yard line of the 47. Derek Shepard is another Redskin that might make this ball club. Good return man. Possible good backup as a wide receiver.
Let's look at it from the reverse angle. Michael Mitchell working against Kelvin Edwards. No, clearly Edwards leaves his feet to leap for the football. Michael Mitchell just showing some good coverage tonight as the Skins continue to hold on to their 3-point lead.
Good call. Redskins over the Cowboys by 3, 10-7, 13-17 remaining in the football game from Texas Stadium. A crowd of 50,000 plus is on hand to see who will take the lead in the NFC's Eastern Division. Both teams are 3-1. Robinson hands off to Vitale. And Vitale inside the Cowboys' 45-yard line. Nice run. Pickup of 9. Hit there by Chris Gullivan, outside linebacker of the Cowboys, and now they'll mark it right at the 45. It'll be second down and 2.
Lionel Vitale, who's just moved into the lead in the NFC in rushing yardage, just scant weeks ago was running his grocery and liquor store back in Laurelville, Louisiana, and is now leading the NFC in rushing. I mean,
so many stories.
Don't you admire that?
Oh, I do. You can go back and tell everyone how he ran for over 100 yards against Ed Too Tall Jones. If somebody might decide he can play,
he may not go back.
That's Jesse looking for the first down. He needed to get to the 43-yard line. And they'll mark it short. Third down and about a yard. Reminder tomorrow night beginning at 8 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night on ABC Sports. What do you think, Dan?
Well, I think John Tudor's last effort in St. Louis was a shutout. If he doesn't get that this time, it may be over.
Robinson gets it over the top and gets the first down. Goes to the 42-yard line. Redskins with a lot of drives tonight, but so many times they have gotten it inside the Cowboys' 10-yard line, either got the big penalty or turned it over. It's been very frustrating. They hold on to a 3-point lead. First and 10. Right from McEwen. The H-back split wide to the right. Robinson wanting McEwen, and in and out of his hands as Robinson was dodging Cowboys behind the line of scrimmage. Tommy Haynes covering McEwen. The H-back who had lined up as a wide receiver to the right.
And the Cowboys coming with all sorts of people. We'll see some single coverage on McEwen because the Cowboys bring 8 people.
It's a good move for a man that weighs 220.
Well, I guess it is. He certainly turns Haynes around, and if that pass is a little better thrown and McEwen comes up with it, they've got the big play they're looking for. But the key there, I think, is that Dallas came with 8 people and really didn't get to Robinson.
Second down and 10. Jesse with a noisy collision at the 33-yard line. A little short of a first down as he collides with Robert Williams.
And Ernie Stautner on the far sideline was just screaming at Don Smerrick about allowing Jesse to get around to the outside. Smerrick was complaining that he was held, but that doesn't count unless there's a flag. Ernie Stautner, a Hall of Famer, a defensive tackle, and the defensive line coach of the Cowboys, and not a guy that I'd like to sit next to in the meeting room if I turned in a bad game the day before.
He used to walk all over me. Third down and 1.
Well, more movement up on the line of scrimmage.
Lionel Vital moving a little quickly on that. And Todd obviously aware that it's going to work against the Redskins.
Pat Haggerty, our official, will.
Illegal motion, number 21. Offense, still third down.
The illegal motion down will remain the same. And it'll be third down and 6.
Washington just having difficulty dealing with prosperity. In Dallas territory, they go into their self-destruct mode.
Nothing happening down here for them. Happening a little earlier at this point in this drive. That's Wilson in motion. Robinson gets it to McEwen, and he's close to the first down. Tommy Haynes on the tackle.
Craig McEwen is, I think, taking this opportunity to show the rest of the country that he's a football player. He came to the Redskins camp here this year and didn't make it, and in the Skins offense, the H-back or the motion man is the guy that has to make it happen, and a triple-digit receiving night. 100 yards on the nose for Craig McEwen, and a first down to boot.
Some big plays by McEwen tonight, and he has worked as a move back. He's worked as an outside receiver. And the Redskins keep this drive alive.
And I don't think he's dropped a pass since Randy White knocked him silly a while ago. That's the same guy that was
back on him.
Was dispatched by a Manster forearm.
First and 10 Washington, Dallas's 32-yard line. Vital, another big opening. And the Redskins have been exploiting that area of the defensive line of the Cowboys all evening. Alex Green and Tommy Hayes made the stop. But there's a gain of 7. And Vital's numbers continue to mount.
Eric Coyle, the center that time. Watch him, number 56. That's Randy White right across from him. He's going to block him one-on-one. Randy turns his back, tries to fall back into the hole, but Vital's already through it. This Redskin offensive line is playing the game of their young NFL lives.
Vital again. This time he goes down in the arms of Ed Jones. Short of the first down by about a yard. Vital now 23 carries, 134 yards.
You don't think it'll be an odd day for Tutall and Randy and the rest of those Cowboy veterans who've crossed the picket line tomorrow when they get together for the first time with their striking teammates who stayed out. I'm an uncomfortable situation, to say the very least, Frank. I'm glad I'm not going to be there.
There'll be a lot of them all over the NFL. Third down, short yardage. And Robinson again was out of time on the 30-second clock and had to use a timeout. So the Redskins are forced to use a timeout, and Robinson will move over to confer with head coach Joe Gibbs. We'll be back. Third down and 1 as we return to Texas Stadium for the Washington Redskins. Third down and 1 as we return to Texas Stadium for the Washington Redskins, trying to keep a drive alive. Most of their offensive maneuvers have taken place inside Dallas territory tonight, but they have somehow managed to hurt themselves, and they lead 10-7 with 8:25 remaining in the game. Robinson hands off to Jesse. Big opening over the left side, but a flag is down. Jesse inside the 20-yard line. Jesse, a rookie 11th round draft pick of the Bears. It was cut earlier this year.
Ball start. Offense.
And they continue to hurt themselves. The miraculous part of this, from Washington's point of view, is that here we've seen on the last 2 third-down situations where they've had 3rd and short and it becomes a 3rd and 6 or 7, they've converted every time. They were 1 out of 7 in 3rd-down conversions in the first half. Here in the second half, they're 6 out of 6. The Redskins are making it tough on themselves and still turning them into first down.
And they're doing it in front of a partisan Cowboy crowd of 60,415. Third down and 6. That's Ted Wilson in motion, number 80. Robinson in trouble. And intended for McEwen, and he comes down with it. Is he in bounds?
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. And another clutch catch by Craig McEwen. We're looking at a potential MVP, and another big catch by McEwen, and a good effort by Robinson to get out of trouble as Ed Jones chased him out of the pocket.
Is he there? Yes, he is.
Concentration, both feet coming down. 7 receptions, 107 yards for Craig McEwen.
He could hardly believe it himself. Give Tony Robinson a lot of the credit. Flushed out of the pocket, running to his left. The right-hander, that's a hard throw for him. And yet he delivered it to McEwen as in the only place he could put it where McEwen could stay in bounds and make the catch.
Robinson, Vitale. Down goes Vitale. And too tall Jones with the pressure. And then the tackle.
Ed Jones is a foot taller than Lionel Vitale. He's working against Willard Sissom, the right tackle, who's trying to wall him off, but Sissom acting like that play was going to the inside. Vitale took it to the outside, and Tutal was actually steered into making the play.
Loss of 3. It'll be second down and 13. And there is Ed Jones, now in his 13th season.
What an athlete.
That's McEwen, number 83, in motion. Vitale tries it up the middle and bangs into Kevin Brooks right at the line of scrimmage. He might have got a yard out of it. Seconds continuing to tick off. Again, the winner tonight will take the lead in the NFC Eastern Division. Dallas lost their opener to the Cards. They beat the Giants 16-14. Then they beat the Jets. They beat Philadelphia last week. Washington beat Philadelphia in their opener. Lost to Atlanta. And they have defeated the Cardinals and the Giants in consecutive weeks.
File this away for future reference, but with 6:30 left in this ball game, the Redskins only have 1 timeout left. Remember, they had to use a couple timeouts because of time problems. Let's see if that becomes a factor later on.
Third down and 11. Robinson has the time and tried to get it to Anthony Allen. Robert Williams had good coverage when he had to. That is within the boundaries of the playing field. So Obed Areri comes on, the Nigerian-born former Clemson star who set so many NCAA records down there. Had a 57-yarder at Clemson. Chukwuma is the middle name. It means, in translation, in Nigerian, God only knows. From 39 yards out, O'Reilly hits for the Washington Redskins, and their lead has increased over the Dallas Cowboys. They lead 13-7. 6:13 remaining in the game. The Redskins without a Redskin regular in their lineup over the Cowboys 13-7. The Cowboys going with their best tonight. That, of course, has meant Danny White at quarterback. It has meant 3 out of 4 defensive linemen that are veteran. And, of course, Mike Renfro and Tony Dorsett. Ariri to kick off. Adams and Levander deep for the Dallas Cowboys. Robert Levander out to the 25-yard line. College football here on ABC Saturday. Now Saturday you'll see a key Big Ten matchup, and that will be followed by Game 6 of the World Series. It's 1st and 10. They have the ball at their own 25-yard line. And Danny White just throws that one away. And I have a feeling that one of his receivers might not have been where he should have been. Danny White, who has been hammered around rather convincingly tonight, 6 times he's been sacked, has hung in there, has hit a touchdown pass to Kelvin Edwards, where the Cowboys only score. That from 39 yards out. 2nd down and 10. Dorsett. And Dorsett rather rudely tossed to the carpet after a gain of 3 by David Wyndham, the middle linebacker who has been alternating tonight with Eric Wilson. A lot of credit should go again to these assistant coaches. You think of Richie Pettibone bringing together a group of players never had been played together, none with any professional experience. And these Redskins have played fine defensive football tonight. So much on the line. The lead in the NFC Eastern Division. More than that, the victory over the divisional opponent. 3rd down and 7. White from the shotgun. Renfro, and he ends the 1st down.
That's a play that Dallas just has to convert. The clock is going to move under 5 minutes as this drive continues, and it doesn't really strike me odd that he would go to Mike Renfro in this situation. A veteran looking to his veteran for the 1st down. Just a simple out pattern. Mitchell giving a lot of room, and the Cowboys, a touchdown puts them in the lead with a successful PAT, and I think Danny White's the guy I'd like to have leading that drive tonight, Frank. He's been superb.
15-yard pickup, 1st and 10. The Cowboys, their own 43-yard line. Some confusion there. Danny White changing off. Danny White had changed it off. His receiver didn't pick it up, and Michael Mitchell gets the interception. You saw the change-up. You saw the movement on the part of the setbacks as Danny White reading a blitz, looking for individual coverage. His receiver did not read it with him, and Mitchell, it's a very important interception for the Redskins.
Your assessment is exactly correct. It's Kelvin Edwards who's the wide receiver. See him running out of your picture? Danny White expected him to just do a button hook and sit down, and a timing pattern all the way. The quarterback delivers the ball where the receiver is supposed to be. Kelvin Edwards just looked helplessly over his shoulder at the interception.
Washington 1st and 10, 35-yard line of Dallas. Clock is running, and they have blown the ball dead. Vitale, they will rule, was down. Cowboys will be tackling that football, and it may come late out of many pileups. Vitale with another couple of yards.
Let's take a look at Vitale moving up. Was he down before the ball came out? Well, impossible to tell from that look. The ball did squirt out a little late. The only man whose opinion counted on that play was Pat Haggerty, and he said it wasn't a fumble.
2nd down and 8, and Jesse is tripped up by Smerrick. Smerrick with a big play for Dallas. The loss will be all the way back inside the 41-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys.
Another one of the Cowboy veterans that crossed the line. He and Randy White drove in together on the first day of the strike, much to the consternation of the other Cowboy veterans who are walking outside. But Don Smerrick that time makes the play.
Here it is again by Tal, who has had a busy night. This was the play before. Did the ball come out before he was down? They looked very close. That was Kevin Brooks and Dale Jones on the tackle. Back to live action on third down and long. Jesse is nailed right at the line of scrimmage. Randy Watts in there defensively for Dallas. Former 9th-round draft pick of Kansas City. He was hot earlier this year.
The clock's going to move under 3 minutes. Even though the Skins didn't go anywhere with the ball, Washington is eating up more of the clock, and a good kick puts Dallas in the hole.
And more than that, good defense has taken the Redskins out of field goal position, and Jack Wheel has to punt. Flags are down everywhere.
I think Dallas has 12 men on the field. They may have had 12 guys on the field. Let's see what this call is.
Illegal procedure, 12 men on defense. 12 men on defense.
Oh, you counted fast.
I did. Well, that's not going to be enough to give Washington a first down, as it was 4th and a mile. That's just a 5-yard penalty. The Skins will decline it and put Dallas inside their own 10.
Illegal procedure, 12 men on the field for the defense, decline.
Cofer was a man who hustled down there to down the football, and penalty naturally declined, and Dallas now has a big order in front. 2:37 remaining. They have 3 timeouts, and they will begin this drive from inside their own 10-yard line.
And anybody who thinks that that guy, number 11, can't pull it off in this stadium hasn't watched a whole lot of Dallas Cowboy football. A lot of teams in the Redskins position thinking they had one in the bank, looking at a game tucked away, and Dallas backed up against their own end zone has walked out of here with their heads hanging before. I know.
Manny White, with a lot of records in front of him, could reach 20,000 yards this year, in range of other Roger Staubach records. The man he replaced back in 1980. It's a tall order with the men around him tonight to pull this one out. Manny White from his end zone. Fires it complete over the middle. Kelvin Edwards, and a beautifully thrown ball. It had to go over a linebacker. Manny White would have preferred to zip it in there. He had the touch to get it in. 24-yard pickup.
It started with the protection, play action. Look at Danny in his own end zone. Not hurried at all. Look how he had to get the ball over leaping Steve Gage, and Kelvin Edwards was that time where he was supposed to be, but back it goes. Oh.
Cesario detected holding, and so the Cowboys will have to line up once again.
And with his quarterback back in the end zone, Sal Cesario is lucky that penalty wasn't in the end zone, because that would have been a safety.
So whatever Danny has planned, if he's going to go to the air, it's going to be again from the end zone. And E.J. Jones out of bounds, short of the first down, and we will get the 2-minute warning. With 1:59 remaining on the clock, the Redskins lead the Cowboys 13-7. And coming up later tonight on Nightline, Wall Street's historic plunge. Nightline goes live to opening exchanges overseas for a preview of what may happen tomorrow here at home. And I'm not sure I want to know. Well, they have turned out so supportive of their replacement team. Over 60,000 here tonight. Last last week, booing the regulars when they went on the field. Cowboys brought in Danny White and Tony Dorsett against the Philadelphia Eagles and Buddy Ryan last week when they had a 21-0 lead. The Cowboys had the 21-0 lead. Buddy Ryan was not happy, to say the least, and he informed them that they would meet again, which they will meet this coming Sunday with the real people playing in Philadelphia.
The point is now 1:59. A long way to go for Danny and the Cowboys.
Second down. Yard to go. Complete to Edwards. And Edwards will have the first down, and he has it out over the 30-yard line. Edwards is a big back. He runs like a small receiver, or rather wide receiver. He's 6'2", 192-pounder, and he has all the moves. Here he is again. Danny White this time getting the protection. He's been hammered much of the night and is able to find Edwards over the middle.
And watch the block. He's going to get right here by Borison, his tight end. Boy, and that's what allowed him to pick up the first down. He came in and cleaned up on David Wyndham, the middle linebacker, and Borison's block allows Kelvin Edwards to get a first down, and the Cowboys use one of their timeouts to stop the clock here with 1:50 left in the fourth quarter.
You mentioned how important it was for the Cowboys to come up with this kind of a receiver after losing Mike Sherrod. Of course, they let Tony Hill go earlier in the year, so you could be hearing a lot of Kelvin Edwards the rest of this season for the Cowboys.
This telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the National Football League is strictly prohibited.
Very nice.
Thank you.
150 remaining in the game.
Maybe I'll get a raise.
From the shotgun on 1st and 10. Screen to Dorsett. And Dorsett over the 45 to the 47-yard line.
If you want to win a football game, you got to put it in that guy's hands.
Clock ticking away.
The Dallas Cowboys, I've seen this a million times.
White fires complete to E.J. Jones. He steps out of bounds. He is in Washington territory near the 49-yard line. 1:18 remaining in the clock stop as Jones takes it out of bounds. Cowboys with 2 timeouts. So many dramatic encounters between these teams over the years. And for the last decade, so many times, an encounter between these teams at the outcome of a divisional race.
Adjustments being made on both sides of the ball. You'd think that would favor Dallas with White at quarterback.
2nd and 7. Complete. Cornell Burbage. Burbage with a first down for Dallas to the 36-yard line. This is where you want cool heads all around you. And Danny White, one of the coolest. White in front. Another first down at the 20-yard line. Clock continuing to tick away. And now, timeout has been called.
Danny White takes the timeout and goes to the sidelines to talk to Tom Landry. And in a situation like this, there have to be adjustments made every play. And in this particular situation, because of the veteran leadership on the Dallas side of the football, a 2-minute offensive drill in a critical part of the ball game is going to favor the Cowboys. It must be a helpless feeling for Joe Gibbs, Richie Pettibone, and the rest of the Redskins defensive coaches, because they can't make those adjustments between plays because they don't have the experience in their huddle.
Meanwhile, Tom Landry, well aware of that. Tom Landry loves to come with a gimmick play, and he will do it even in a situation like this. He likes to do the unlikely. He even likes to do it with his regulars playing. He will come with a draw play when it's least expected. He'll come with the screen. He'll come with the reverse. And the game is being played out strategically on both sides of the field between Joe Gibbs and Tom Landry. 50 seconds remaining. Cowboys down to 1 timeout. Redskins leading 13-7. White White with a lot of time. Now has to go out of the pocket. Fires a shot. Tries to get it in to E.J. Jones. Risky business.
Indeed.
Steve Gage defensively there. Gage has been all over the field tonight for the Redskins. We'll look again. Chased out of the pocket. Danny had run out of bounds and stopped the clock.
Yeah, he had the choice of stepping out of bounds and came away with it pretty good. Steve Gage stepped in, got his left hand on the ball, and wasn't close to intercepting it, but was in good defensive position.
Field goal won't do it. 2nd down and 10. Danny White, 6 of 7 on this drive. For the night, 21 of 35, 262 yards. The draw play. Dorsett is able to pull loose. It was Dan Benish who had Tony Dorsett's leg. They're down and 7. Seconds, 8 seconds, 7 seconds, and the Cowboys stop the clock with their final timeout.
And Frank, the Cowboys that time let a lot of time burn off the clock. That was not good clock management by the Cowboys that time.
Specifically Danny White, he of course could have thrown that away, stopped the clock. He probably would have known, should have known, that he would never be able to carry that in on his own.
Well, the question was whether or not to use a timeout rather than throwing it away, because throwing it away would have brought up a 4th and long. So that's really not going to work. As we look at Mike Renfro running his route here, Danny had all the time in the world to stand back there, and that's when he finally made the decision to run. But yeah, we're wondering too, Mike. No one's
that open. He was in between Mitchell, in between Gage. Danny White looking downfield. No more timeouts. 7 seconds remaining. First place in the NFC East on the line.
Well, the one play can't be for just the 3 or 4 yards. This has to be a play into the end zone.
The veteran out there is Mike Renfro. The hot receiver over the past few weeks, Kelvin Edwards. Burbage and Renfro to the right. Edwards is to the left. Intended for Edwards, incomplete. 2 seconds remaining, and the Redskins will take over. Joe Kofer made the defensive play for the Redskins.
And after the game that Danny White has played, it's really tough that it comes down to a pass like that, because you really have to wonder why, of all his receivers, that's where he throws the ball, because even if it's completed, it's not going to be a touchdown. The man has to go into the air, Kelvin Edwards, at the 6-yard line. Even if he makes the catch, he's nowhere near the end zone, which is where he had to be.
Jubilation on the side of the Redskins. They have won their 3 replacement games that they have played. The regulars will take over next week. They have the Jets at home. And the Redskins will have the NFC East lead. And more importantly, they have defeated each and every one of the teams in their division.
And I guess these fellas in the red jerseys get the Mark May back slap for a job well done. A little playoff money might be in stake for some of these guys too.
They, of course, with the 3rd game, qualify for half a payment of any playoff games that are involved. Look at the excitement on this sidelines as Joe Gibbs is being carried off by a bunch of youngsters, a bunch of people you, I'm sure, do not know very much about. He has whipped them into quite a football team. Standings now, Washington on top, followed by Dallas, St. Louis, Philadelphia, and the Giants in the NFC East standings. Once again, the final score, the Redskins defeat the Cowboys 13-7. This ABC Sports exclusive has been brought to you by Michelob. So exceptionally smooth, and this night belongs to Michelob. And by Nissan Cars and Trucks, built for the most important race. Tomorrow night is Game 3 of the 1987 World Series. ABC Sports will bring you all the action with the Minnesota Twins. Les Straker takes on John Tudor and the St. Louis Cardinals. Live exclusive coverage will begin at 8 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night.